Hey friends, welcome back. I have a question for you today. What are you fighting right now? I don't mean the external stuff, the circumstances that haven't shifted yet, the relationship that's complicated, the finances that are tighter than they should be, the project that's moving slower than you'd like. Those are real and we're not dismissing them. But I'm talking about the internal battle, the one that nobody sees. The thing that keeps surfacing inside you that you keep pushing back down. The emotion that you've been managing. The truth you've been circling without landing on. The version of yourself that keeps trying to come forward that you keep telling to wait. Because there's a very specific energy in the collective field right now, and the message coming through today is loud and clear. You are not at war with yourself. You are at war with your own transformation. And those are not the same thing. So let's start with what resistance actually is, because I think we've been taught a version of it that isn't quite right. In most spiritual and self-help contexts, resistance is treated as the enemy, the obstacle, the thing between you and what you want. Get past the resistance and you get to the good stuff. Which means most people spend enormous energy trying to eliminate resistance as fast as possible. To push through it, to outrun it, to reprogram it away. Here's what the field wants you to understand. Resistance is not a problem to be solved. Resistance is information. When something in you is resisting, it's because a part of your system genuinely believes that the change being asked for is not safe, not wrong, not bad, not broken, not weak, safe. Your nervous system is doing its job. Your protection mechanisms are doing what they are designed to do. They are keeping you from moving faster than you can actually metabolize. The question is never, how do I get rid of this resistance? The question is, what does this resistance know that I have not acknowledged yet? Because resistance always contains information. Always. The part of you that keeps putting the brakes on knows something. It has a reason. And until you can actually listen to that reason, not just acknowledge that it exists, but actually hear it out, it will keep doing its job. Loudly, repeatedly, and at the most inconvenient possible moments. Resistance is not your enemy. It's a part of you that hasn't been told that it's safe to stand down yet. There's a distinction worth making here because it has practical implications for how you work with what's coming up for you. There's a difference between protection and avoidance. They can feel identical from the inside. Both involve slowing down or stopping. Both involve a sense of not yet or not this. But they are doing completely different things. Protection says, I need more information, more support, more time, more safety before I can move through this. It's responsive to actual conditions. When the conditions change, when safety is established, when support is in place, when integration has happened, protection relaxes. It was never trying to stop you permanently. It was trying to make sure the conditions were right. Avoidance says, I'm not going to look at this, ever, regardless of the conditions. Avoidance is not responsive to conditions. It's a fixed position. And the tell for avoidance is usually that it escalates rather than settling when given time and gentleness. It gets louder, more creative, more insistent in its reasons for why now is not the right time. Most of us have been operating simultaneously. The work is learning to hear the difference. Protection needs to be met with gentleness and patience and the actual provision of safety. Avoidance needs to be met with honest inquiry and the courage to look at what's underneath it. If you're in friction right now, here's a useful question. Is this resistance asking for safety, or is it asking never to look? The answer to that question tells you what you need to do next. The collective field right now has a particular quality. Things are being moved around, things that have been sitting underneath the surface, individually and collectively, are being pushed up, not gently, with some force. And this is not punishment. This is not the universe deciding that it's time to make things difficult. This is a pressure differential. When the frequency at which you are capable of operating rises faster than the old material can clear on its own, the old material gets pushed up by the difference in pressure. Think of it like water in a pipe. If you increase the water pressure, anything that was stuck in the pipe moves. The pipes don't break because the water is angry at them. The buildup moves because the conditions have changed. What is being forced to the surface in you right now is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that your capacity has expanded beyond the space your old material was occupying. The movement is evidence of growth, not failure. The question is not, why is this coming up? The question is, what does this need from me now that it's here? Because it has come up for a reason. And the reason is not to punish you or derail you or prove that you haven't healed enough. The reason is that it's ready to move. It has been waiting for you to be ready. And something in you is ready now in a way that you weren't before. The friction is not an obstacle. The friction is the thing completing. So here's what the field wants to say about the other side of this. There's something waiting for you on the other side of what you keep fighting. Not as a reward, not as a prize for doing the work correctly, but as the natural consequence of the friction completing. When a river meets a boulder, it doesn't stop. It builds pressure until it finds the path around it. And in that finding, in that moment of the water moving around and through the obstacle, the pressure that was building becomes momentum. The very resistance that seemed like it was stopping everything becomes the force that accelerates what's next. The power that has been building behind your resistance is real. It is not imaginary. It is not wishful thinking. It's the natural accumulation of everything that you've been doing and becoming that hasn't had a clear channel yet. When the resistance clears, not by being forced or bypassed or powered through, but by being genuinely worked through, that accumulated energy moves. And it moves with more force than it would have had there been no resistance at all. So you are not behind. You are pressurized. And those are two different things. And what feels like being stuck is actually the moment just before the channel opens. So what does it look like practically to work with this energy rather than against it? Because I think sometimes we receive transmissions about trusting the process and surrendering to transformation. And it sounds beautiful and also completely unhelpful when you're in the middle of the friction itself. First, stop treating the friction as evidence of failure. That is the most important reframe. Every time you interpret the resistance as proof that something is wrong with you, you add a layer of shame to what already needs your gentleness. The friction is not failure. It's part of the process. Second, ask the resistance a direct question. Quite literally, sit down somewhere quiet, drop into your body, feel where the resistance lives physically, and then ask it, what do you need me to know? What are you trying to protect? What would need to be true for you to feel safe letting this move? Don't analyze the answers, just receive them. The body knows things that the mind hasn't caught up with yet. Third, work with the body, not just the mind. Your nervous system holds the resistance, not your thoughts, not your beliefs exactly, though those can be connected. The actual physiological experience of not safe to change lives within your nervous system, in your body, in your cells. Somatic work, movement, breath, time in nature, physical contact with the earth. These are not supplemental to the inner work. They are the inner work at this level. Fourth, let things be incomplete. Part of what creates friction is the insistence that transformation look a certain way or follow a certain timeline. When you release the requirement that this process be tidy and linear and complete by a specific date or in a specific way, you often find that it moves more freely. The friction was partly with the container that you were trying to pour it into, not with the transformation itself. So I want to speak directly to the people who are exhausted, who have been in this process for a long time, who have done every practice and held every intention and done the work and are still meeting friction and are starting to wonder if something is fundamentally broken. You are not broken. You are in a very intense phase of a process that is real and that is working. And the intensity of what you're meeting right now is proportional, not to how far you still have to go, but to how close you are. The resistance at the end of the long process is different from the resistance at the beginning. It's more primal. It involves older material. It has more layers. It can feel like the most resistance you've ever encountered right at the moment when you're closer to getting through it than you've ever been before. And this is not cruel. It's physics. The last thing to move is the thing that's been anchored the longest. It doesn't mean the anchor is immovable. It means that it just has more weight, and it will take more intentional presence, not more force, but more presence to move it. You are not at the beginning of this, and you are not failing. You are at the part where it gets harder right before it gets easier. And that part, as miserable as it can feel, has a name. It's called almost through. I want to close with the thing that the field wanted to say from the beginning of this. You are not at war with yourself. The part of you that's resisting and the part of you that wants to change are not enemies. They are different parts of the same system, trying to accomplish the same thing through different means. One is saying, move toward what you want, while the other is saying, make sure it's safe first. Both of them are trying to get you to the same place. They just have different timelines and different thresholds. The work is integration, not victory, not defeating the resistance, integrating it, bringing it into the conversation, listening to what it needs, meeting it with the same gentleness that you would extend to anyone who was scared or trying to protect something precious. Because that's what this is. It's a part of you that is precious, trying to protect something precious. It just needs to know that what's coming is safe. It needs to hear that from you, not from the universe, not from a reading, not from a transmission, but from you. From the part of you that has already decided to move forward and can speak to the part of you that isn't sure yet. So tell it, we are not in danger. We are becoming, and I will not leave you behind. That is the message. You are not at war with yourself, and you never were.